Let's get started and take all the components that we have created and assemble them together in another file called the assembly files. All these 4 parts were drawn in a part file and we'll bring them together. To show that they're all open, I can choose Control Tab and it will cycle through the different drawings that are open right now. This is the toolbox side, Alt Tab again, and I'll highlight the end cap and I'll hit Alt Tab again and go to the handle. So all 4 components to make this toolboxes are there. So we're getting ready to assemble digitally and we'll end up fabricating this once we CNC it. Once we bend it, we can put it all together. It's going to be a fun time. So let's get started. We're going to start here, make assembly from part. There is my assembly icon. I'll choose it. We have the 4 components. We're going to highlight the handle and we're going to check to put it at the origin. That's simple. And if we want to take a look at these little glasses, we can actually come in here and see where the origin is, and it's at the center. And if you remember, my design intent was to go off the center of the right plane, so half the distance this way and half the distance this way. It helps with future assemblies and way to mate stuff together. Let's go ahead and insert some more components to assemble the toolbox. We'll come up here to the command managers and choose insert components. This time I'm going to insert the side. So I'll click on it and drag my mouse out here. And as you can see, it's already almost has the orientation that I'm looking for because of the way we drew this. So I'll leave that there. Now, this is where we come into learning about mates. I want to take this face here and this face here and make them flush. So back up here to the command manager, we're going to choose mate and we're going to choose just a basic standard mate. We're going to choose this face and align it with this face. Now I'm going to control it around and we'll take a look at this. Now we're flush with each other. I'll accept that. And as you can see, no matter how I move it in space, it looks like it goes out of space, but it's always against that. It's not going past it. It's way away from it, but it's still back where always on that plane. So the next one I want to do is another simple mate. I want to choose handle itself and zoom in and touch the inside here. And now as you can see that the side plate actually moved to be in line with the handle, not the handle in line with this because this is the one I brought in and it is fixed. If I accept this, you can see there's an F by the handle. And so that this will spin around and do all kinds of stuff. So we have that in there. Let's bring in the next one. Let's mate the end cap. So we'll come up to, again, insert component. We'll grab an end cap and again, we'll bring it in here. Now this one will be pretty easy to mate. Again, we can do the inside of the cylinders. Do you see these origins? It's telling me where all the origins are because I turned it on here. I'll turn them off. And I'm going to zoom in on here and I want to do another mate. So I'll go to the command manager and I will choose this inside cylinder and this inside screw and it'll be perfectly lined and I'll accept that. Now the next thing to do, I'll unzoom away and you can see that I can still move it anywhere along here. So I need another mate. I will choose this face and to this face here and now it's perfectly locked in where I would like it. So let's take a look at that. We're locked in. Now let's bring in another one component. We will insert a component and now we're going to bring in the base. Here comes the base. So I brought in the toolbox base. You can see it's in there. Now I need to line it up. This is where it gets kind of fun. So basically we know we want this face and this face to line up. So we can do that first if we like. We can go to mate. Again, real basic face. So we have that one selected. And now we're going to select this one here. And it moved the box. Remember, the thing that doesn't move is this handle. So everything moves to the handle. And you can see this is always going to be in line with that no matter how I look at it. So the next step we want to do is kind of get this centered up. So to do that, I'll come over here and I'll minimize standard mates, and we're going to try one advanced mate here called width. This width mate, again, we will take this side and this side, and the tab selection will be this flat edge right here, okay, and this one. So a width mate will make that perfectly centered no matter how I do it. It will find the middle, so if there's ever assembly you have to do that, we'll do it. And you can see it's perfectly aligned. I can even hit the space bar and look at the top, and you can see it's perfectly aligned. What's there is the same distance as there. Okay, so I'll hit the space bar again. We'll go here. We will accept that. That looks good. We're still not done. One more I want to do is get this lined up so I can know exactly where it's going to be. And this simple mate will go back to standard mates. We will choose this flat surface here along with this flat surface. And now we are totally and completely made it to where we want it to be. Nothing is moving. We're happy with that. I like that. It looks great. The only thing we're missing is this other side. We can choose to do other things with that. If we choose to, for instance, if we choose to mirror it over, we could do the components, take these features and mirror it over. We can insert more components if we want. I like the latter part where we already have them there. They are constrained where they are. If I just mirror them over, that would be pretty easy. And that was my design intent originally because that's why I put the right plane in the middle, because I want to mirror about that plane these two components. So just like we have in the part drawing, we should have some way of mirroring components on this side of it, assembly. So what we need to do is find out where that would be, and looking at this, it says linear components, and I believe the other one was linear patterns, but we can look at here and we can see mirror components. The question is, the design tree comes over here and opens up. I want to use the end cap and the side. These are the two components I want to mirror, and I want to mirror it about the right plane. When I hit check, I have them totally constrained and they're in position where they have to be. Now that we have it completely assembled, we should save it. So we'll hit save, and notice that we're saving it as an extension of solid assembly. We have been working with the part file, the solid part file. Now our extension is going to be the solid assembly, which combines all the parts in one area that they're linked to each other. And this is the neat thing. So if I change one dimension, they all change in everything that is associated to it. So I'm going to call this Toolbox. It is a toolbox now. And we are done with that. Okay, but looking at it, there's got to be some confusion here because I have no holes here to line up there to assemble the box. I pretty much did that on purpose to show you that how we can use other parts to drive circles when we come into sheet metals or other components. So I'm going to use these components, these circles, to create holes through here. And as I change these dimensions, these holes will follow always, so always should have a good assembly or alignment of my circles, depending on how well I bend the part. That always makes a big difference. So let's go ahead and try to do that. While in assembly, I'm going to space bar. I'm going to go to the right plane. I'm going to select this surface right here. Dialog box appears, and what I want to do is edit that part. I'm not going to create a sketch right now. I'm editing the part so I can create a sketch. So that's very important to understand. So we're going to choose that one there. Let's go up here. We're going to choose edit part. Now that part's, we're editing it, and I want to create a sketch on that plane now. So I'm able to edit the part in assembly. I'm going to come up here to my heads up toolbar. Oops, got the wrong one, but that's okay. I'll go back here. I want to go to the way I visualize it, and I want to show it as hidden lines. Those lines behind there are what I'm looking for. So make sure you click off space, because a lot of times we choose the edges, but I want you to click off space here in space, right over here somewhere. And now I'm going to do something what we call convert entities. I'm going to select this entity, hold down Control, select this entity, hold down Control, select this entity, holding down Control, and this last entity. There's nothing else selected. If this outer ring is selected, you'll see a different part. I only have 4 circles that are selected, and you have to be aware of that you have them. So I'm going to select off and watch. I just selected, now I selected that whole area. You can see that. So when you do that, select off. I'll hit spacebar. I'll go back to my side plane. I'm going to come over here, hit the circle, control, circle, control, circle, circle, while holding down control. Okay, and then I'm going to convert entities. Up here, in your command manager, I'm going to use convert entity. Now I just created 4 new sketches. See them, they're black. And what do I want to do with those? I want to cut. So I can come over here, you see a new tab came up, was our feature tab, and I want to extrude cut. And how far do I want to extrude? Just through the first one or all the way through? Well, I want to go all the way through. So through all, we'll hit check. And now if you look at this, we should have holes all the way through. Let's change our view back to solids. You can see there's holes on both sides. Let's exit the edit part. Let's rebuild. And you can see now what I did was I actually created holes based off the holes of the sides, which makes it very interesting because what drives those holes now is this part here. Now, if I wanted to come in here and open this one, I can come in here and take a look at the dimensions. There's my extruded. And if I change one of those, let's say for this one, I change it, we'll put it 0.5. We moved it here. We'll rebuild that. We will go to our window command and go back to our toolbox assembly, and you can see it actually moved it over. So what drives my circles on my base flange are my sides, which should have been designed like that anyway. That's why I never put them in. And so if I wanted to edit that again, I can easily go to Control Tab, bring up that, choose that dimension or that sketch, double click on it, and change it back to the original number it should be. Save it, rebuild it, save it, go to my window toolbox, and it updates it there by rebuilding, and we'll save it and update it. Save all. And there you go. Total control. Everything is controlled by one thing. Now, if someone would grab this, it spins around the handle. Remember, that's the only thing that's fixed, and that's the way I kind of design it, that it'll spin around there. If I wanted to lock it in that it didn't, that would take one other mate, which is an easy mate. If you think about it, it would be this mate here, this face, to a plane, which would be the top plane. And now it's always going to be locked into there, and now it won't move at all. So there's many ways you can lock things in. If it concerns you that it moves the wrong way, you can always lock it into that plane. So this face and the flat top plane are locked in. I'll go ahead and save that. Well, we have it completely assembled. Looks great. The only thing it looks like we're missing, if we wanted to make it a complete drawing for people to see, is our bolts and nuts. I'm not using a rivet. I'm using bolts and nuts. It's easier to obtain. So I'm going to come over here to the task pane, and I want to insert some components. So we're looking to insert the toolbox. We're going to come over here to Design Library, Toolbox. Okay, we're going to bring in our toolboxes, and we're looking at ANSI American Standards. We're going to look at bolts and screws. We're going to look at machine screws. And we're going to look at round head screws. That's what I'll be using for this. And as I have that now, I'm going to drag one in here, and you can see the part comes in. A dialog box appears over to the left side, and it asks what size. We're going to use a 1024. We'll look at probably about 3/8 of an inch. Oh, we accept that, excuse me. We're going to take it, we're going to lock it in there. It's our first one, our second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. We'll rotate it around Oh, I didn't want that view. I wanted this view over here. So I'll rotate it with my here, and we'll put it right here. One here. Gotta slow down. The computer's generating. Actually, I didn't put an extra one there. I had to click it out because it was stalling. I'll come back later and delete it. And I have all my pieces in there. So I can also choose this one here, put a lasso around it, and hit delete just to make sure I got rid of it. We have all our pieces. It looks like they're all screwed in there. This is how I used to assemble it. You can use any fastener you want. There's an extra one there, so I'll get rid of that one too. And yes. Now, one of the neat things is I can take a look at this, and I have a lot of bolts information here. And if I wanted to, I can put all these by selecting the bottom one and hold down shift, select the top one. And I can put all this by right button mouse click. I can make a folder and put this away, and it'll be a little bit more neater for the way of organization. So I'm going to add a new folder, and I'm going to call this 10-24 machine screws. And they're all put in there, so if I expand them, they're all there. If I click off it, I click on it, selects them all. It's kind of neat. What am I missing now? To add the nuts, we'll go back to the design tree. We'll go into the nuts that we need. We're going to use a machine screw nut. And we'll just use a normal machine screw nut and bring that in here. Once we bring it in, we give it a 1024 single chamfer, whatever it may be, and we have that in here. We'll check that and we'll start placing that where we want them. Let's zoom in on there. That one goes right there. This one goes right there. Just to make it complete, I do have to go out and buy these and put them in to make sure the students have them. Again, it's freezing up on me. That one didn't get sent over to where I want it, so we'll move that around here. Deleted that one. We'll insert another one. And it's all in there. I believe I got all 8 of them. It can give you your account of how many you need. And it looks like I got one floating right here. I'll accept that. Oops, get out of there. Keep adding more, so we'll delete that. And we'll go to spacebar, isometric, and rotate it back. And we have a complete assembled box with fasteners. And we will save that. Again, I'll highlight the bottom, hold down shift, highlight here, right button mouse click. What are we going to do? We're going to add a new folder, and we're going to call this 10-24 machine nuts. And we are good to go. We got it completed. We'll save it again. And our toolbox is ready for toolpathing. This is where MasterCam for SolidWorks will take advantage of SolidWorks interface to machine this toolbox. SolidWorks is a great tool to design with, and you can see how simple it is to assemble, to change its materials, and add design libraries to your final product. I'm a believer, if you can assemble it digitally, you should be able to build it manually. So we'll have fun doing that. In our next demo, we'll be opening up MasterCam for SolidWorks and machining the base, the sides, and the end caps of the toolbox. Let's get going.